A glooming peace this morning with it brings. The sun, for sorrow, will not show his head. Yes, the giant ball of gas billions of miles away was sad. It wasn't just cloudy. Go hence to have more talk of these sad things. Some shall be pardoned and some punished, though that may prove difficult considering anyone who did any actual killing is already in the ground. For never was a story of more woe than this of Juliet and her Romeo. Certainly lets the protagonists of your other tragedies know where they stand. Hey, William. Guess Othello and Hamlet are just whiny bitches then. Well, Hamlet, maybe. Suppose it's not the victims that you feel the worst for. It's the ones they leave behind. Not that there were many left behind in this case, or many that mattered. You don't know who I am, do you? I don't blame you. Most versions don't even have me in them. Rosaline, Capulet, also known as Juliet's cousin, also known as the other girl Romeo was hopelessly in love with until he spotted Juliet and promptly forgot all about me. Don't get me wrong, I'm not jealous. I spent the last 2 weeks trying to shake him off, but I would have preferred if he hadn't pegged it, taking 2 relatives, a friend, and whatever Paris was down with him. It also didn't occur to me that when he forgot about me, so would everyone else. Because William didn't tell you this, but I didn't disappear after the ball. I was still there while everyone was moving the plot along, I just didn't get to be a part of it. And don't get me wrong, I get it. You can't focus on every Tom, Dick, and Horatio who passes through the story, but I played my part, despite not getting a part in the play. And you know, I was more involved than William would have you believe. Here. So, we all know the basic story. They meet, they talk, they marry, he kills him, he's exiled, they consummate. She cries, he cries, they die. Yeah? Good. Well, things get more detailed when I remember them. After their meeting, I actually had a lovely time not being bothered by a certain lover boy. Wasn't so nice when Tybalt decided to talk my ear off afterwards about Romeo's disrespect or something or other. I may have had a few. I don't even think he knew he'd been chasing me. He just wanted to rant and seemed to think I was keen to hear him talk. Not exactly sure what gave him that idea. As the famed wedding was happening, I was trying to talk him down from his frenzy because apparently no one else was going to do it. And you know, I may not have been successful, but neither is Romeo, and he still gets mentioned. Then I suddenly have 2 funerals to attend. Because, if you'll remember, Mercutio wasn't actually part of the feud. He was my friend too. So, while I may have skipped Tybalt's if he wasn't technically family, I still had his to go to. Then, I'm told that Juliet is marrying Paris in 3 days, and I'm maid of honor. So, I have most of a wedding to plan, right before the bride dies morning of. So now I have to process my cousin's death on top of Mercutio's and Tybalt's. Then turns out she wasn't actually dead, but definitely is now, along with her husband and her fiance and the husband no one knew about, who happens to be the guy who was stalking me last week. Suppose you could say emotions were running a little high. But anyway, there it is. There's your story. You've got your main characters, your side characters, your beginning, your middle, your end, your words, and my what? What do I get? I live, sure. What else is there for me? Once the play's over, those left get to walk away knowing that these events are a part of their story. Are they a part of mine if I never get a mention? If no one remembers that I was here, was I? Did I really lead him to that ball? Did I prepare her for her wedding and funeral twice? Did I feel everything that comes with the death of a friend? Stupid question, of course. Of course I did. Of course I did all that. Could have humored him, I suppose. Maybe even have gone to the ball with him. Would he still have fallen for her then? More likely than not, I imagine, but then would they have moved so fast? Would they have waited till morning for him to end things with me and been less hasty with the marriage? Or if he'd been there, or would he have spent an entire act deciding between us? Or if I'd been there, but he wasn't pursuing me, would they have met at all? Would Tybalt still have killed Mercutio? He went after Romeo because he was at the ball, but let's be honest, he was a ticking clock. It was only a matter of time before he did something like this. Romeo wouldn't have been caught up in it, definitely. Despite his inability to take a hint, he's gentle. Was gentle. I never thought of them together. It would have made sense. In another universe, they could have been wonderful together. Well, they were wonderful together. But again, it's not what this is about. I don't need to spend my time harping on about them. People have been doing that for centuries, thanks to some playwright who decided to test his ability to tug on the heartstrings. And don't get me wrong, the writing's great. It's a beautifully written account of what happened, a beautiful tragedy of unfortunate circumstances and passionate love. It's just a real stab in the gut when you are a part of this story, and the writer decided you're in fact not a character, you're a plot device. A catalyst for the main action to begin and then never mentioned again. At most, I'm backstory for Romeo. Sets him up as a romantic and passionate and not at all stalkerish. Because, you know, without the context that he followed a girl who continuously rejected him to his enemy's ball, it might appear creepy that he breaks into the garden of a girl he'd known for half an hour. But again, not about them. I suppose that's part of the problem, isn't it? What am I known for outside of them? I didn't exist for them until they were gone and they were all anyone could connect me to. I am a full person. I have a whole world outside of this text. No one's lives begin or end as the script is written, you know. Everyone who exists in this play had a world before, and those who lived have a world after. I had a full life before Romeo would read me his latest sonnet, which was really just the same lines from the last one, worked around a little bit. Ironically, he was no Shakespeare. The world exists as more than what the author perceives it to. But then no one cares about the little things, do they? They don't care what the sellers at the market are putting on sale this morning. They don't care which of the town drunks are staggering home. They don't care what the girl who wasn't good enough thinks of all this. But here I am, and I will tell you whether you want it or not. It's shit. Losing people that you care about is shit. But you know what's more shit? Having their final moments immortalized so that people can sob over them for centuries. Critics can complain a particular Juliet didn't give enough in her final speech. Go, get thee hence, for I will not away. What's this? A cup closed in my true love's hand. Poison, I see, has been his timeless end. O churl, drunk all and left no friendly drop to help me after. I will kiss thy lips. Haply some poison the doth hang on them to make me die with restorative. Thy lips are warm, yea, a noise, then I'll be brief. O happy dagger, this is thy sheath, let it rust and let me die. Bring on both your houses! Yes, all right. I miss them. I miss Juliet's warmth, her wit, and her joy. I miss Mercutio's laugh, how he could make anything dirty. The terrible ideas he'd let me live out. I miss Romeo's determination. His rolling my eyes as he read me another sonnet. I miss hearing of Paris every so often, the brief reminders that he existed. I miss Tybalt. His anger and his resentment that feels like it's missing. It's too peaceful without him. It's too peaceful and cold and prude and logical and too much and not enough. and things just aren't right, and if I hadn't... So many people died in those 3 days. Suppose I could have been one of them if I'd let myself get caught up in all the passion. But I didn't. I didn't let myself near any of that. I protected myself. And this is what I get out of it. A life that looks right, but just feels so wrong in every way. Peace is missing, but no one can tell. What right do I have to say these things? Me, of all people, who led them to their fates, dragging down half a dozen people with them. How could I say anything like that? The feud is over. The streets are peaceful. No one's fighting anymore. Everything is wrong. Yes, the feud ended. Why did it take this? Those statues that they mentioned at the end of the play. Everyone kept their word. They went up in a couple of months. It hurts, definitely. Especially since I spend as much time as Montague House as I do Capulet nowadays. I spend a lot of time with Benvolio. He understands, sometimes. After all, he was Romeo's cousin, Mercutio's friend. Well, friend. I think he's tricked himself into believing he's in love with me. Poor boy. Thought about reminding him what happened to the last one, but it seems in poor taste. He's head of Montague House now. The Lord passed not long after the statues went up. Having no heir, it passed to him. He made an arrangement with Juliet's father. Every year, on the anniversary of their deaths, the Capulets and the Montagues hold a ball, not unlike the one where the ill-fated lovers met. It's a celebration of the end of the feud and a memorial to those lost amongst it. It's been going 3 years now. I've never gone. Feels like it would be a disservice to them. If I hadn't been there in the first place, they may all be alive. Maybe I'll go this year. Might give me closure, or it might bring up all these feelings I don't want. I should go. At the same ancient feast of Capulets, sups fair Rosaline, whom thou so lovest.